All right, Jake. Jake Sloan, the Vice President of Insurance at Appian, is here to talk to us today. Welcome, Jake.
Thanks, Grant. Nice to see you. Appian is a platform as a service cloud software provider, and we're here in our 26th year. And when we think about this in the context of insurance in particular, and insurance and healthcare, this is a capability, a platform that you can build, applications, bespoke applications from scratch with the latest capability for workflow, case management, and especially, AI in process. I suspect you may have AI questions that tends to come up. Or we offer pre-built solutions around what we call connected underwriting and connected claims. And so I'm here on my 7th year with the firm. It's a fantastic organization, and it's a great part of the industry to be part of.
And you've come out to Sydney and the rest of Asia for what particular reason?
Yeah, so we have been expanding our Asia Pacific investment specific to insurance. And so I've now about 3 times a year I come to Sydney, and going on from Sydney this time to speak on stage at InsurTech Connect Singapore, and then on for the first time to work with our team in Tokyo. So it's just testament to where the industry is at, how we continue to invest, old technology that needs to be modernized, especially with an orientation for cloud. And so it's very exciting to always be here in the team. It's a beautiful area, and I really enjoy time here.
Oh, very good. I did read a piece you wrote about earlier in the year about the role that AI will play in your industry, and I'd be interested, Jake, if you could walk through the changes that perhaps have already taken place with AI and what you expect in the next 12, 18 months, perhaps.
Certainly. So when you contextualize AI, we talk about traditional AI, the latest from the agentic, the AI agent. And if you look at this through the lens of what we've seen, there's a lot of hyperbole, frankly, around AI in mass. And so where we see this be incredibly powerful is in process. So we believe that an AI agent belongs in process. And for the industry specifically, when we think about where we expertly apply this, say in the underwriting context, ingesting the slips, looking at the cover, being able to determine both the extraction of the ability as well as the contextual capabilities. This is where we've come from this journey of somewhat rudimentary in the beginning to very, very high levels of accuracy. And it's frankly, it's quite incredible. If you think about this in the claims context, being able to determine maybe, let's say it's a workers' compensation claim, understanding again that context and how, the claimant might be working through the process. AI just gives us a level of additional automation that really hasn't been accessed. And especially in the context of insurance, Grant, it's very compelling as you look at a lot of large data legacy systems, green screens that have their place, and you're not going to get off of those overnight. Yet at the same time, being able to take and move to the new cloud-based, core admin systems, and then complementing those with, a platform like Appian and our AI in process capability is very powerful and compelling.
So you take customers through their digital transformations, basically, is my understanding of what you guys do. What are they saying about AI because there's security issues and all those sorts of things that go with that?
Yeah, certainly. So Appian, our journey is to really work with, our insurance, based and healthcare teams to really reimagine, say, let's stick with claims, for instance, to reimagine the claims process. And all too often you'll find, I found this in my prior role as CIO, that I'd hand a team a pen. I'd say, if you could wave this at any part of the process, and fix it, what would you wave it at? And what was compelling there is that the organization almost always has the answer at the table, and yet it coming back to the technology barriers and parts of the organization that you just couldn't move fast enough. And so as we unpack that and to get to the heart of your question, what Appian helps is really taking those parts that are very rigid and very complex and moving those into a better capability set with the Appian platform and the Appian solutions, extraction layer, if you will, to really create that new capability yet being intentional to align that via Appian's data fabric to the core systems. And so every insurer of any size has grown through acquisition, likely, or maybe they've gone through periods of rapid growth. And how we're able to apply that, with both the Appian approach, the data fabric, and then the AI, what the insurers are really wanting to see is the ability to have, guardrails, for instance. Able to say, Appian's posture on that is private AI, so that the insurer's data stays with them. It isn't shared like a number of other models and competitors. So you have the data that stays resident, and you have control over the the ability to influence the decisions and the action, and that's becoming even more important if you look at kind of our heritage of workflow and case management, our capability. Being able to determine what the action is and then deciding. But again, all that is centered around the human. Our posture has been very clear that we want the human in the loop and want to, augment what the human capability is via our artificial intelligence.
So has AI come along at a good time? I mean, we see a lot of the insurance industry under a lot of stress, I gather, with climate change, natural disasters. There seems to be one every single day.
Yes.
So I assume AI has come along at a good time to enable your industry to utilize the features that offers.
Absolutely. When you think about how AI has come along at a point where, the process automation that this is helping accelerate, if you think about routine tasks, things like data entry, document verification, status updates that are traditionally, largely human centric. And I want to, there's been innovation along the way, of course, but when you look at this at a time when, the storm frequency, the intensity, at a time when affordability, and especially in the Australian market, it's been top of mind. Those are examples where it's come at the right point to help reduce leakage, to help drive optimization, and to really keep your subject matter experts, the incredible colleagues in the industry, whether it's being on the underwriting side or the claims assessors, to really keep that administratively burdensome work off of them so that they can really focus on the exceptions and the complex, underwriting or the complex claims cases that, really bring that insurance promise to life and the brand that they represent.
I assume you're also using AI to forecast future risks. I mean, that's, I assume, something that you would want to get access to.
Absolutely. Whether you're looking at, through the lens of risk assessment, risk selection, one of the features that I'm particularly proud of is how we look at this in the context of a continuous improvement cycle. So we call it Process HQ. And so when you think about this, the ability to look back via the data that you have, the ability to recommend improvements go forward, all too often that we see the organization, again, may know where the improvements need to be made, but then they turn to their existing enhance and change processes that are typically choked off. And so again, within that same, Appian solution, the Appian platform, able to make those optimization, choices, much like you do on the risk selection side. And it's just continuously to iterate on that and improve it incrementally versus the old ways of waterfall, building it up, putting something out, months or even years later. It's just quite the contrast.
Yeah, I'd be interested, Jake, to actually understand what you think of the Australian insurance landscape. You said you come 3 times a year, so I assume you must have some sort of insights and perhaps what the customers have been telling you in the last few days.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we see that in particular, natural disaster is one with, the flooding and, large base of ranchers and the commercial aspects, and then affordability. If you look at, in particular the life side, as, household income is strained and, inflation takes its role, the affordability for, life insurance, regrettably becoming optional. And then, you layer onto there switching around here back and forth between life and property casualty. But if you, look at GI, the affordability because of these storms, and pricing individuals out of the market and being able to come up with new ways for affordability. But that's something the globe struggles with storms, of course, but I do see that be more in this region, especially as far as the affordability aspect of it.
So is it a tough time to be in the insurance industry?
I think that depends. An actuary might take pause, but yeah, it's always a cautiously optimistic time to be in the industry, right? But I, personally feel that there's not a time like we are right now for technology to really then further augment, the base of the industry that's, hundreds of years old. And so if you look at it through the lens of what could we do, you can't control the weather, you can't control a number of things. what can you control? And that's to have, a modern tech stack that is also mindful and aligned to the core components that are likely very old and not going away, very soon. And so that's where it's a very good time, as it relates to being, insurers, whether you're on the technology side of the house or the operations side of the house, to have choices, in a word, that you're able to really then bring. And, one of the things that we're particularly focused on is the value that this brings to the organization, whether this be through an improved claims experience, whether this be an improved underwriting experience, being able to take, more products to more segments, with reduced overhead, or just, that continuous improvement cycle that insurance already knows, yet this gives them new tools and capability for them to be able to follow through on those promises.
Okay, I'd be interested, Jake, if you could run through perhaps a customer success story.
Yeah, certainly. Here in the region, Helia is an example. Of course, Australians will know as far as a leading mortgage insurance provider. And this is an example of an organization that's like many, they go through a transformation strategy, and the company identifies, through that process, the need grant for them to have a simplified process to speed up the claims, claims access, claims process overall. And so this is an example, and we see this often, where this process is, previously was taking, 2 days for the organization to execute the claim. And then by automating those workflows, via Appian's capability, they reduced that, under 10 minutes. And so 2 days to 10 minutes. And these stories are, plentiful as it relates to us around the globe. But when you think about how you're dramatically improving, that experience for lender customers, and the shift, not only, delivers a more efficient gain, but you're also enhancing the overall customer experience. One of the particular pain points we see often is customer effort. When the effort is high, the experience is instantly off, to a poor start. Think of any kind of retail experience you might have. And this is one example, particularly with Helia, that's exciting to highlight, because you bring the effort down, you bring the overall process cycles down, and it just creates a better, process overall.
So that makes it smoother and faster, I suppose.
Smoother, faster, exactly. And then you also cement this continuous improvement culture. So when you think about, how this transformation, starts with claims, as we often do, we have a very high customer retention rates. Appian customers buy more Appian. And this is a great example that, the Helia teams have now used this, beyond the claims process. Now it's crossing over into the underwriting and billing sides. And it really helps cement, again, I've walked into numerous roles myself, or customers we work with. We'll see these large, 7-figure target operating models, and target operating models from systems integrators have their place. I don't want to mince words here, but when you look around the table, the organization knows what it needs to do. It just might be constrained by, old tools to do it with. And so this is one of the particular points with the Helia team that, you start with one aspect of the business, it crosses over, it's smoother, it's faster. You take it to underwriting, maybe you take it to the customer onboarding, customer experience. And this is an example where, the finance team now is using us, with significant savings. And that's a story that it's very similar, across our other customers in these segments.
You sound very passionate about insurance. What got you into insurance in the first place?
Great question. Great question. Well, there's been 2 chapters in my career, if you will. First chapter was in telecom technology, and I found myself kind of caught up in the 2008, subprime mortgage, and I had an opportunity from a career perspective to choose a new path, and I sought out insurance or healthcare. I started early in my career down the path of being an X-ray technician, focusing in on nuclear radiation. I had a family member that got sick, and I decided, maybe that's not for me. I'll go a different path. But I sought out insurance, and it just, it's an incredibly noble business. And as you know, you hear some bad stories, of course, and they're out there. But by and large, it's something that's an incredible part of, just society and the protections it provides. And was fortunate enough to link up with Farmers Insurance at the time, and went through their state development executive program. And so to this day, I still carry my P&C life and health licenses, and then combining kind of both of my passions, technology with the insurance. That's where I found myself in a number of opportunities with kind of first evers, because these transformation efforts, while they are lengthy, and I don't want to take away from that, there's a lot of work that can be done just in organic process improvement. And I was really just taken aback at how little tools there were, for organizations to use. And so when I left Farmers, went to work as CIO for Aon Specialty Flood Units, and my team, it's a classic story, had grown through acquisition. We had our best customers on System 1. We had our best features and on System 2. And then there was this other third that had the largest customer base. And so I liken it to, how do you paint the airplane while it's in flight? Well, you do it with tools like Appian. And that's how my journey with Appian started. I met Appian, 10 years ago, and I'm now in my 7th year here. And it's truly an incredible opportunity to be part of this organization and to be part of the industry where you're driving so much change and you bring that passion and you can see it come to life. And you hear this, whether it be through design thinking or different, just ways of going about transforming organizations. But all too often that final lever with the technology that, we're able to help overcome. And it's exciting to be part of that and part of the industry.
So the final one for me is there anything else that you wanted to add that perhaps I haven't asked you?
I would just add, thanks, Grant. It's great to meet you. And I would add that sometimes we find organizations that struggle with maybe where to get started, or right now, the latest with artificial intelligence. I have some leaders that will say, well, we're interested, but we don't want it to make decisions, or we're interested, but it's not for us. In contrast to organizations that are fully embracing it and see that it is, in fact, it is the future. And, make no mistake, it has an influential role. So, what I would add is that if you're, one of your viewers that are maybe seeing this and you don't know where to get started, we'd welcome the opportunity for you to reach out, and it's, of course, we're part of the organization. We're part of a software company, but in earnest, we like to help organizations figure this out. And you might be surprised at just how you can, take something that's incredibly complex. We can help you align that, into something that's very palatable and get started. And that's the most important thing. Get started, work through it in an iterative fashion, and we just, help inspire, I guess, if you will, to some extent, maybe leaders out there that are struggling with where to get started, that we've got a path forward we can help them with.
Excellent. Okay. Really enjoyed the chat, Jake. Thank you.